Good morning and happy Thursday to the Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation, coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee for hour number 5 and 6 this morning in a row. Welcome to Ungoverned after 4 hours with the great Dawn Stensland on 12-time WPHT. We've got 2 straight hours here on LFA TV, rumble.com/LFA TV, and X as well, as we dive into the woke-inspired tragedy that happened yesterday. Everything woke touches, everything woke touches turns to it leads to death and destruction. So it's unfortunate that that's the case, but that is the case. And we will be live with you for the next 2 hours here on LFA TV. We have a birthday to announce in the chat. Mo has got his hat on. I broke my hat, but Mo has got his hat on. Brennan's got her hat on. Where's the thing? Hold on, where's the good? Give me that. Here we go.
Happy birthday, Gina!
There it is. It's Gina's birthday today, 30 years old. So there you go. Happy birthday to Gina. Stasi, for real, everybody. Wish Gina a happy birthday. That would be the madre-in-law. And it is a birthday. We have a birthday in the now it is the new tradition ever since Bad Moon to put the birthday hat on Mo when we have a birthday like that we know about and everything. So happy birthday to Gina in the chat. That's cool. All good and dandy as we rock and roll. Oh, there it is. I had to have that off during 12:10 because it was echoing.
Happy birthday, Gina.
There it is. Happy birthday, Gina. We're here for the next 2 hours. Jeremy is out today. He's back tomorrow. But we are here for the next 2 hours. So you are stuck with me, unfortunately, for all of you. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that is the case. Look, we're going to talk a lot about that school shooting that took place yesterday, obviously, in Minneapolis. Not a good situation. Preventable, totally preventable, and an indication of just how sick that society has become. It's unfortunate, right? We have become a very sick society, and that is something that I think we're going to have to touch on a lot of just what was wrong with this individual beyond the whole trans issue. Obviously, yes. Being, having the whole transgender thing is a problem. I'm not going to say it isn't, and I'm certainly not going to sugarcoat it, and we're not going to handle that with kids' gloves. But it is beyond just, I believe, just the trans stuff. It's all of the ideology that was scrawled all over his weapon, all over the ammunition, all over the magazines, in that crazy video. Did anybody watch the video? I watched the uploaded video of that the shooter uploaded shortly before carrying out the attack because I had to hear it for myself. It sounded like he was possessed. This guy sounded like he was, like literally under the influence of demons, and possibly, maybe he was. It's very possible that he was. I don't think somebody in their right mind would carry out an attack like that without being influenced by some sort of corruption, whether it being physical or spiritual corruption. Now, of course, that did not stop people like the Krasensteins. Brennan, actually, on the way back from Michael Patrick Leahy yesterday, pointed out that he said some really awful things Brian Krasenstein did on X in the wake of this shooting. Of course, you could leave it to them to say some really terrible things. So we're going to get to that. The ideology that was scrawled on the weapon, not just kill Donald Trump. This is a lot bigger than Donald Trump. But other ideology that we've been telling you is troubling. Zach Misfit Patriot has been telling you that it's troubling. Obviously, just take a look, right? Just take a look at some of the documents. I'm not going to be putting it on the screen, but you take a look at some of the things that have come out of the reporting that's been done on this shooter and the ideology that he espoused and he subscribed to. And you can draw parallels to people who I told you about, many people told you about are people that are very, very dangerous, and their ideology, their philosophies are also very dangerous and are not compatible with Western society, with American society. These are not people who give a damn about our country. These are not people who give a damn about your safety. These are people who give a damn about their own personal gain. We'll get to all of that. Before we do, I want to get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms. It's OFPfarms.com. Promo code Sean, SHAWN, OFPfarms.com. Promo code Sierra Hotel Alpha Whiskey November. Folks, explore the wonderful quality of Faith Farm and Freedom products with a special limited time 15% discount on your entire purchase. Take a peek at the lineup from OFP Farms, America's go-to soap company, famous for natural ingredients, the skin-loving perks of tallow and goat milk, and a big heart for farm-to-family skincare. Whether you're looking for gentle skincare or thoughtful gifts, these products bring together expert care and good values to make your daily routine better. Do not miss this chance to enjoy premium products that support your health and ethical choices for the entire family. OFP Farms is the small family farm with big love, and they've got amazing products out there for 15% off for you if you use the promo code Sean at OFPfarms.com today, like the Outlaw Soap, which will leave you smelling like a felon. How do you know what a felon smells like? Is that false advertising? No, because we've been doing this. I'm going to continue to take shots at that individual who said that because it was completely and totally ridiculous, and I don't really care if it hurts anybody's feelings, because if you can't take a joke, maybe this show's not for you. OFPfarms.com, promo code Sean. Outlaw Soap is amazing. It smells good. It smells delicious. It smells like committing felonies, which is actually not a good thing. But if you live in New York or in Washington, D.C., committing felonies is acceptable. OFPfarms.com, promo code SHAWN. I will pop this on your screen for you. OFPfarms.com, promo code Sean for 15% off. They're running that discount here in the month of August. OFP Farms. You see it on your screen. The small family farm with big love. OFPfarms.com, promo code SHAWN. The Krasensteins on X yesterday, Brian in particular, decided it was a good idea to just, assault prayer, attack God. There was another one this morning that's even worse, I think, than what he said yesterday. We will get to that in a second. I'm going to get to what I think the underlying issue is. Not just, obviously, we know that the transgenderism is a mental disorder, right? It's a mental illness. Gender dysphoria is a mental illness. It's a documented mental illness. It's a recognized mental illness. And the best way to treat a mental illness, or for that matter, any illness, is to actually look for a solution to the illness, not a solution to the symptom. If the symptom is, I'm a male and I want to be a female. If the symptom is, you're a male, but you believe you're a female trapped in a male's body. If that's the symptom, the treatment is not, okay, just be a female. That's not the treatment. That's the Band-Aid. That's the Band-Aid. That's not the long-term fix. Because, and I just watched the movie Inception recently, and we'll get to this in a minute, because there's a lesson you can learn from that movie. An idea is like a virus. It grows. It spreads. It mutates. Think on that for a second, and I will get back to that central idea in just a moment. If you're watching over on X, do us a favor, repost the stream. You're watching anywhere else, hit that like button, hit the share button, take the link, spread it all over the place. We're here for the next 2 hours. We're going to be getting into all the nitty gritty. You might agree with me on some things. You may disagree with me on some things. We will have all that and more for you in a second. Just bear with me as I get to a word from our friends over at Silent. It's slnt.com/SHAWN, silent.com/Sean for 15% off. Let's face it, your phone, as much as I love it, I do love my phone. I do a lot of business on this phone. Stay connected, track the news, prep our shows, etc. We have a lot that goes on that device, but it's also a tracking device. Let's face it, your phone is a tracking device. Mine is too. Government agencies, big tech, corporate data brokers, even cyber criminals, they're all fighting for a piece of your digital footprint, and they don't ask for it. They just take it. They just go on and they take it. That is why Silent exists. Silent exists to protect your privacy. They make Faraday gear that blocks all wireless signals, including cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, and near-field communications. No signal means no tracking, no remote access, no breadcrumbs. How you feel about that? Hansel and Gretel, no breadcrumbs. It's the same technology that's trusted by special operations teams worldwide, used to block signals, avoid surveillance, and secure communications wherever the mission leads. And now it is available to you to protect your family, protect your freedom, and secure your digital footprint. Drop your phone in a Silent Faraday sleeve and it is off the grid. No access, no signals, no visibility to the outside world. From backpacks to sleeves to crossbody, Silent's patented technology gives you control over your privacy. They're running a Labor Day sale right now at silent.com/Sean, SLNT.com/Sean. Not only will you get 15% off, but you've got these codes off on the right-hand side as well that you can see the special Labor Day offers right now at SLNT.com/SHAWN. Protect your rights, secure your data, stay one step ahead. Go to silent.com, SLNT.com, and silence the chaos. Silent.com/Sierra Hotel Alpha Whiskey November. All right. An idea is like a virus. Inception, one of my favorite movies ever. It's actually, I just watched it again the other day for the first time in a long time. Inception to me is it's one of these movies that actually has an element of tragedy to it, right? So for those of you who haven't seen it, it's kind of a spoiler-ish type thing. It's been out for a long enough time. I believe that it's fair game at this point. But Leonardo DiCaprio, he plays the character Dom Cobb. Cobb's wife kills herself because she thinks she's dreaming and wants to wake up, right? In the way that you wake up from a dream. When you die in a dream, usually you wake up. Those are the quote-unquote rules in the movie. So Dom and his wife did this thing called dream sharing in the movie, and they wound up in this space called limbo where, 5 minutes of time in the real world is like it equates to decades of time in the dream world. So they spent their whole life together in this dream, and Leo started to realize, Dom Cobb started to realize, hey, this isn't the real world. I want to actually go, back to reality, see our children, watch them grow up, et cetera, et cetera. And he couldn't convince his wife to exit the dream. So he found in her subconscious, in the dream, the area where she decided that the dream space that they were in was the real world. And he spun the top, and it signified that that where they were was in a dream. And so basically implanted the idea in her head that her world is not real. And so then they woke up, and she continued to have that idea in her mind. This world is not real. I must kill myself to go back to the real world. She kills herself. It's a whole thing. The point that I'm making here is that an idea is like a virus. And in the example of the movie, that idea wound up taking the life of the wife of Dom Cobb in the movie. Her name was Mal. In real life, with this transgender stuff, this idea is a virus. If you placate this idea, if you give credence to the idea that a male, a biologically born male, is actually a female trapped in a biological male's body, and you instead of saying, hey, that's not the case, let's talk about what you're really struggling with, let's treat the disease, the mental illness, versus treating the symptom, you get two different outcomes, okay? If you treat the symptom, you're giving credence, you're giving legitimacy to the idea that type of quote-unquote mistake can be made, and this person was just born into the wrong skin, born into the wrong body, born with the wrong parts, born with the wrong biology. The problem is that idea continues to manifest itself. It continues to grow. It continues to spread like a cancer in the body. So now when one delusion is legitimized, you have to legitimize the rest of the delusions. So now no longer in a year or two is this person not just a transgender. Now they think they're a cat, or they think they're a dog, or whatever the case may be. You start pumping them full of drugs. Oh, well, they'll feel better. That'll fix everything. No, you're just creating a new drug addict. You're creating a medically engineered junkie at this point. And that idea that they're in the wrong body or that there's a mistake or that they're special, this, that, and the other, that just continues. That becomes who they are. It consumes them to believe that they're, and it pushes them to the point where that the world that they're in isn't real, or the experiences that they're having aren't real, or that their delusions, no matter how delusional they may be, will be legitimized because they feel that way. Therefore, it must be true. This is what happens when you legitimize insanity. You get insane people. And I have been saying this for years about this particular issue of transgender. It is all bull crap. You are not transgender. You are not born into the wrong body. You are not a female trapped in a male's body. You may be an effeminate male like Nick Fuentes. That doesn't mean you're actually a woman. Okay? None of that is the truth. None of that is I don't care who it is. If it's a drag queen, if it's Blair White, if it's Caitlyn Jenner, if it's Leah Thomas, if it's Sarah McBride, whatever. You could change your name. You could wear a dress. But if you were born a dude, you will always be a dude. I don't care what you get chopped off, what surgeries they do to make things look different south of the equator. You are always going to be a male. Period. That is an unimpeachable, immutable fact. Fact. And we cannot just depart from the facts to make somebody else feel better when they're delusional. You can't do it. And I have been saying that for years. And I got called a terrorist. I got put on an SPLC hate list. We had hit pieces in the media, death threats. People visited my job over it. Hell, we probably got swatted here because of it. Or part of it. The fact of the matter is, if tomorrow, which won't happen with me, I'm crazy, but I'm not insane. If tomorrow is like, I'm a woman. No matter how many times I say it. No matter how many times I rub on Aladdin's genie lamp and the genie pops out and, no matter what happens, that will never be the truth. Ever. It doesn't matter how many dresses Leah Thomas wears. Doesn't matter how many dresses Sarah McBride wears. Timothy. Doesn't matter how many dresses Caitlyn Jenner wears. Doesn't matter how many times Blair White goes, well, I'm on your side of political issue, but I'm actually, it doesn't matter any of that. Those people were born men. They will always be biological men. If something unspeakable happened to them and their bodies were mangled beyond recognition, and the only way they can identify them is through DNA, that DNA will come back and say that that person was a biological male. The DNA doesn't give a damn what dresses they wore, how they referred to themselves, what their pronouns were. It is time to abandon. It is not just abandon. It is time to condemn and relegate into the waste bin of society this idea that biological males and vice versa, biological females, can change their gender and biological sex just because they feel like it. This is the problem with this woke ideology. Okay, everything woke touches, everything woke encounters leads to death and destruction. Everything. I put up a 3 minutes and 45 second video yesterday, almost 4 minute video yesterday, just riffing about it. Just talking about it. And I'll get to those comments in a second. I did promise you that we would get to what the Krasenstein said. And again, I don't need you wagging your finger at me if you're on X going, stop giving them publicity. The reason why I'm giving them publicity is because they're poster children of the left. And we've got an election to win next year. And I want people to understand that if you vote Democrat, you are on the same side as this asshole. Praying is the problem here. Praying is the problem. Has anyone ever been killed by prayer?
No.
Has anyone ever been victimized as a result of prayer? Been the subject of violence? Praying is the problem here, not the solution. People use prayer instead of action. Prayer is action. If prayer worked, a house of prayer wouldn't have just experienced this tragedy. What a piece of absolute garbage. The bodies weren't even cold yet. Some of these kids who were fighting for their lives weren't out of surgery yet. And this guy has the nerve to say, well, essentially echoing the comments of the freaking shooter who wrote on the magazine, "Where's your God now?" And that's exactly what Brian Krassenstein is saying here. Yeah, well, prayer was so powerful. How come it didn't save those kids? Get this. This guy, look, I'm not a violent person. I don't advocate for violence. I'm just saying. Put me in a room with that guy, and the chances are it ain't going to end well for that guy. The things that's why don't put me in a room with that guy, because I don't want to throw my life away over Brian Krassenstein. What an absolutely disgusting thing to say. And by the way, because he's a stubborn asshole, yes, I'm going to use colorful language to describe this guy, because that's what he is. Because he's a stubborn SOB who always thinks he has the moral high ground. He did it again this morning. Quote tweeting someone saying, "God doesn't take too kindly to being mocked," tagging Krassenstein. I would say that's probably accurate. He said, "What's he going to do? Kill more kids?" As if, oh my gosh. Hell's not hot enough for that guy.
No, he'll see one day. And it'll be too late for him, but he'll see one day.
It is just, I'm reading this and I'm going, maybe in the heat of the moment yesterday, he posts something like this. The next day he comes out and goes, all right, you know what? Inappropriate. Nope. He's echoing the comments of the shooter. He's echoing the comments of the actual shooter. The shooter wrote on the weapons, "Where's your God?" Seriously, this is exactly what he's saying. The left. And that is the left. Oh, he doesn't speak for all leftists. Well, he thinks he does. There's nothing illegal about saying this. I mean, people are like, ban him. Huh? I mean, I'd prefer it if he didn't tweet, but this is not illegal. This is disgusting. You could argue it's blasphemous, right? But it's not illegal. He has the right to speak. I have the right to call him an asshole. I mean, that's how that's going to go. But I mean, look, just take this, right? Take this right there. It's on your screen, okay? And take this and know that we are under 24 hours from a senseless tragedy committed by somebody who he would consider an ideological friend. Understand, a year from now, 15 months from now, when there's an election, 14 months, in the midterms, you vote Democrat, you're voting for that. You're voting for people like him to be in power. Could you imagine? Well, we could imagine. They were in power for quite some time. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, do you remember one of Kamala Harris's rallies? Someone stood up and
said,
they said
Jesus
Christ is
King
Lord
or Jesus is
something,
Lord. Yeah,
and she
yeah.
said, "You had a wrong rally."
Yeah,
Well,
Verdict is in. She was right.
Yeah.
That's probably the one time she's ever been right about something. I just could not believe it. I could not believe it. But I could. It's the Krasensteins that we're talking about, so I absolutely can believe it. You know, it's one of those, like, I can't believe it. It's so bad, I can't believe it. But it's also, we expect this. This is what we would call par for the course from Brian Krasenstein. Just the level of the lack of awareness, or maybe he was aware. I don't know. I don't know what goes through this idiot's head. I can't stand him. I can't. And his brother, they're both reprehensible human beings. Reprehensible human beings. Here we go. Here, Troy Bet. All right. You know what, Troy? Come on, Troy. 631-527-4545. You don't give a shit about dead kids. Because a person killed children. A person killed children in the name of Israel falling. So why don't you give me a call, Troy, you coward? 631-527-4545. You want to run your mouth? Let's run your mouth. I've been on the radio for 4 hours already. I have a headache, and I don't want to be bothered, but I do want to hear from you. You've got 5 minutes. You've got 5 minutes. 631-527-4545. Only Troy call, please. You don't care about dead kids. You're using them as props. That's what you're doing. I was waiting for a comment like this today. All these people want to say, oh, there's a genocide in Gaza. Oh, Israel is the genocide. They're killing children. You don't care about dead kids. This guy just shot and killed children and wrote your ideology on the weapon yesterday. That's what happened. Or am I wrong? Did he not write 6 million wasn't enough? Or am I wrong? Did he not write Israel must fall? Or am I wrong? Did he not write Manshallah, which means in Arabic, God has willed it? So it was, where's your God now, right? Where's your God now? Mm-hmm. For the Catholic kids who are praying, but the Arabic God willed it. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, sure. 631-527-4545. You've got 3 minutes left, you coward. Let's go. 631-527-4545. Troy. Probably Troy with a small T. Soy boy Troy. Give me a call. Let's go, tough guy. I knew I was going to get a comment like that today. I knew it was coming. These people don't give a rat's ass about children. All they care about is Jews and Israel and any attempt. You had people like the retard finder on X, that dipshit, right, on X yesterday going, no, the words on the gun don't mean anything. The words on the gun are the guy's mother effing murder motive. How do the words not mean anything? This is why I call him woke right. This is why I call him woke right. Because the woke left, when there's black on black crime, they go, no. Don't worry about the race of the shooter. But when it's a white shooter, they worry about the race, right? Always. When it's the woke right, you find out that this is an anti-Jew, anti-Israel, anti-Trump, Islamo-Marxist. They say, no, don't pay attention to that. Kids died. Yeah, I know kids died. Don't you think it's important to find out why the kids died? Don't you think it's important to investigate what could have contributed to that motive? Don't you think it's important to understand maybe a way to quell the ideology that is leading to violence, violent uprisings, intifada? Sound familiar, Troy? I knew I was going to get a comment like that this morning. I was ready for it. 2 minutes. 2 minutes left. I got to spray this now that I've been screaming at Troy. Still got 90 minutes to go. He's not going to call. No. He's not going to call because, as many people said in the chat, he's a chicken shit. He got called out. He got given and I know it's colorful this morning, folks. I'm telling you, I got a migraine, and I knew I was going to get this. And I couldn't say that word on the radio, so it was building up. But I knew I was going to get this crap. I knew I was going to get a comment like that today. They don't care about children. They don't care about. And by the way, if that was a synagogue, they'd be celebrating it.
Yep.
And it's not just about people like, oh, you're making it about Jews. I'm not making it about Jews. The shooter did. All right. As Speak said in the chat, Troy is changing his tampon. Probably right next to Tim Walz with a mouthful going on over there. All right, Troy, if he pops back into the chat, ban him.
Yeah, I already have his name.
Good.
So I just did it forever.
All right.
I had to stay scrolled way up holding on to his
He's out.
name.
He's out. He's out. Yeah. Troy didn't call. He wanted to run his mouth in the chat, and he was like, oh, no, he saw me. He reads the chat. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get to the ideology in a second because we've got a lot of that. We got about an hour and a half left with you this morning, and I hope USN vet 0811 had to clean his not USN but he's talking about Troy had to clean his butt plug. Guess he had a little bit of a run in with boot edge. Who knows? You see that gets me upset. It gets me mad when I see things like that because I knew I was going to get that comment. I knew it. All right. Quick break. Patriot Mobile. We'll talk about some good things. I'm going to unfortunately talk about more bad things, but that's because of the nature of this story. It's a bad story, but we have to get into it. We got to talk about the root causes of it. Hey, that first half hour went by pretty quickly. Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/FARASH. PatriotMobile.com/Farish. You have a lot of choices for cell phone service. I know it. They're popping up all over the place. We hear new commercials from them all the time, but this is the one to go with, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for, and that is Patriot Mobile. See, here's the good news. The good news is you can switch to Patriot Mobile today without sacrificing quality or service. If you're worried about coverage, don't be. Patriot Mobile uses all three major U.S. networks. If you have service in this country today, you'll have as good or better coverage with Patriot Mobile tomorrow. If you think switching is a hassle, well, it used to be. So you're not entirely wrong, but it's not anymore, especially not with Patriot Mobile. You can keep your number, you can keep your phone, or you can upgrade your phone. Patriot Mobile's 100% U.S.-based team will get you activated in minutes from the comfort of your own home. If you're stuck in a contract or you owe money on your phone, don't worry about that either. Patriot Mobile has a contract buyout program. This is how we win, folks, by aligning our spending with our values. Every single dollar that we spend matters. Just go to patriotmobile.com/FARASH or call 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code FARASH, FARASH, and get a free month of service. Switch today at patriotmobile.com/FARASH, patriotmobile.com/FARASH, or call 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code FARASH, FARASH, and get a free month of service. patriotmobile.com/FARASH. Okay. We're going to get into the ideologies now. And I mentioned this. Everything that woke touches turns into death and destruction. I want you to listen to me now because we're going to clean up the language, all right? And because I don't think that's the most effective way to make an argument. It's not. It isn't. Despite my fluency in French, it's not the most effective way to make an argument. And we're going to talk about this, okay? Think about what is it? Okay, let's do this. Let's do this in the chat. What does it mean? Well, I'm going to ask where did the term woke as a political term, as an ideological term, where did it come from? Does anybody, let's start there because that is where we need to be in order to understand what I mean by wokeness, okay? So where did the term woke as a political sort of ideology, where did it come from? Who started using it recently? What is the what is the origin of the term woke? Right, the whole stay woke.
When people are awake to the
right
something.
It came from. It was used by the black community, right, to say that we're woke, we're awake we are awake to an oppressor. We are noticing, we are recognizing that we are being oppressed. We're awake to this, but they use the term woke. Okay? So it came from, as Great McGroin is saying in there, as Winky is saying, being woke to your oppressor. And shout out Misfit Patriot, because he was the one who really actually finally explained it to me this way, where I understand, okay, that's exactly where it came from. Woke to your oppressor. Think of what the woke movement was. Woke, DEI, people are being marginalized, and the marginalized people, the quote-unquote marginalized people, are aware that they're being marginalized, and they are aware of who is marginalizing them. Are we clear on that so far? Mm-hmm. Woke equals awake and knowledgeable, aware of the fact that you are being oppressed, and you are awake and aware of who is oppressing you. Mm-hmm. So on the woke left, okay, which is where wokeness has been festering for years, who is the oppressor to the left, right? Who is the oppressor to these minority communities? Who are they, quote unquote, woke to? Whites. Right?
So they think.
Well, that's their ideology.
Yeah.
We're going to put ourselves in their shoes. Their ideology, a woke leftist, is somebody who believes that white supremacy is prevalent in all of our institutions. Whites are oppressing minorities. Whites are the controlling class. Whites are the problem, right? That's what we're saying. Think back 2020. It was white. It was a war on white. It's not okay to be white. That's why there was the whole, flip side thing. It's okay to be white, right? It was a war on whites. Those are the enemies. Those are the oppressors, according to, colonizers, the whole thing, right? Settlers, stolen land when it comes to Native Americans, the whole slavery thing. The left, the woke left, they were awake, so they say, to white oppression, right? The oppression that whites levied on blacks and minorities. Okay. The reason why we use the term woke right, just to clear this up, because some people are like, well, how could you be on the right and also be woke? Woke means left. No, woke does not mean left. Woke means aware of your oppressor and awake to your oppressor. The woke right, like that guy Troy, who was in the chat before. Who does the woke right believe is the oppressor?
The Jews.
The Jews, right? Not the government of Israel. The Jews, okay? They want you to believe that this is just them calling out a corrupt government. It's not. Okay, we do this all the time. We look at Vladimir Zelensky and Ukraine's government and we go, corruption, right? They're stealing our money. Zelensky is a corrupt guy. Does anybody here have an actual problem with the Ukrainian people? No. I don't. I'm not walking around going, I hate these Ukrainians. Because the Ukrainian people are stealing our money, and the Ukrainian people rule the world, and the Ukrainian people are a drain and a parasite on Americans. No, that's what calling out a corrupt government looks like. Pointing to Vladimir Zelensky, pointing to Ukraine, pointing to the money that goes to that government and saying, bad. That's not what the woke right is doing. The woke right, anytime someone's got a Berg at the end of their name, they look at them with the stink eye. Go, what? What does the term J-pilled mean that Ian Carroll keeps throwing around? J. What does the J stand for? It stands for Jew. It's not about Israelis. It's not about just the nation of Israel. It's about Jews. You don't believe me? Here's a member of the woke right saying it himself, Myron Gaines. Stop calling them globalists, elitists, Frankists, Sabatinists, communists, deep state Zionists, oligarchists, Rothschild bankers, and neocons bringing us to war with Iran. Just say Jews. He's literally telling on himself. So they're the ones, and they say what? They say that they're noticers, right? That they're noticing things. Noticing what? Noticing what? That Jews are in control. They're awake to this idea that Jews are the problem. Woke right. That's why the term fits. The ideology that poisoned the mind of the shooter in Minneapolis yesterday was a woke ideology, and it spanned both sides of the political spectrum. Yes, he was transgender. I understand that. But it goes deeper than just the transgender stuff. But let's start at the transgender issue. Something is wrong with this individual if he believes that he is a she in the wrong body. Immediately, right off the top, right off the bat, something is wrong with this individual. They are mentally ill. That's number one. But I want you to think, what has been some of that? What has been some of that? Some of the rhetoric that folks on the left have used to motivate, to enrage transgenders and members of the LGBT community. What has been some of the rhetoric that has led to them, quote unquote, taking action, whether it's protesting, posting on social media, waving their flag around? What is some of that rhetoric? Haven't we heard the idea that the trans community is under attack? Haven't we heard the idea that, remember the lady in Orlando? We did it last week, gay crosswalks, when I was on with Carl Higby. Our community is being erased. Haven't we seen that trans day of vengeance where it said, stop trans genocide on it? Genocide. You have a group of people who are convinced, these transgender individuals who believe this crap. You have a group of people who have been led to believe, who have been gaslit, who have been brainwashed, who have been indoctrinated to believe that they are facing daily an existential crisis, that there are people who not just want to fix the ideology, but they want to eradicate them as humans. I want to be very clear. If I know that somebody believes themselves to be transgender, I want to fix the way they're thinking. I don't want to kill that person. I don't want to erase that person. I don't even think any less of them as a human being. I feel bad that they're struggling with gender dysphoria. But they have radicalized the transgender community to believe that they're under attack. Folks, when you attack an animal, when you attack a person, what usually happens after you attack something? What usually happens after you attack somebody or something?
It fights back.
It fights back. So if the idea here is that the quote-unquote trans community is under attack, what is the left going for? They're going for the reaction of fighting back. But the fact of the matter is the trans community under attack? No. Is the trans community facing a genocide? No. Is the trans community being erased? No. As a matter of fact, the trans community is on the rise. 2.8 million Americans identify as transgender. It's a social contagion, but we talked about that the other day. The trans community is not under attack. The trans community is not being erased. The trans community is not facing a genocide, but they believe it is. And I don't know about you, but when you corner an animal, when you corner a person, when you back somebody into a corner and you are pounding this information into that person that you're under attack, existential crisis, your way of life, people don't accept you, pounding them. That person's going to swing back. And they're swinging back now. How does this relate to the woke right? Well, I just told you that the things that are happening with these transgenders, the idea that their community's being erased, the idea that they're under attack, the idea that people want to wipe them out as human beings, not just address the ideology. Those are things that they believe are happening that are not happening. Now think about the ideology that was scrawled all over the weapon that was used by this transgender shooter. Israel must fall. 6 million wasn't enough. Burn Israel. Gas the Jews. Manshallah. Homages written on the gun to Muhammad Atta, who was one of the 9/11 hijackers. And that's not it. That's not it. How about this from the New York Post? Tell me where you've heard this before. Trans Minneapolis shooter, I'm ashamed to put the name on the screen, but I couldn't help it with the headline, mused about slaughtering filthy Zionist Jews in Sikh journal before deadly Catholic school massacre. And for everybody who says, well, hold on, if he really wanted to attack Jews, why didn't he shoot up a synagogue? Well, it's because his mother worked at the school and he knew all the weak points of the school. Filthy Zionist Jews, you say? Oh, interesting. Okay. Transgender Minneapolis shooter spoke of murdering, quote, filthy Zionist Jews. Where have we heard that before? Who speaks like that? Oh, that's right. Nick Fuentes, Myron Gaines, Candace Owens, Jake Shields, Stu Peters. They all speak like that. I'm not saying that they're responsible for this guy. I'm saying that ideology inspired this guy. Not because I'm trying to draw the connection, because he wrote about it. He spoke of murdering filthy Zionist Jews and spewed other anti-Semitic bile in a twisted manifesto before he opened fire at a Catholic school Wednesday morning, killing 2 children. Along with that, he also wrote slogans such as Free Palestine. No way. In a journal that he wrote in the Cyrillic alphabet in Russian, which New York Post translated after YouTube clips showing the diary pages were posted online on his since deleted channel. Quote, if I will carry out a racially motivated attack, it would be most likely against filthy Zionist Jews, he wrote in one disgusting entry. Quote, I hate those entitled, penny-sniffing K-words, he wrote elsewhere in the journal, which was full of anti-Semitic slurs.
K-words?
Yeah. Rhymes with bike. Hold on. I don't want this to go on this. That's a nasty one. It's a bad one.
Oh, I had never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's a bad word. Very bad word. Is it me making this about Jews, or is it the shooter making this about Jews? Look, the question of who died yesterday, which children were killed yesterday. Yes, I understand they were Christian kids. They were Catholic kids. And it doesn't matter what denomination of children they were, they shouldn't be killed going to school and praying. But it's the ideology that is important. You never see these Free Palestine people behaving peacefully. You just don't see it. They don't speak that way. They don't protest that way. They don't believe in peace. It's a jihad. It's Islamo-Marxism. The jihad is not peaceful. It's an intifada. And I'll tell you what, Muslim extremists don't care if you go to temple on Saturday or church on Sunday. Because what is it that they say? Oh, first we go for the Saturday people, and then we come for the Sunday people. They came for the Sunday people yesterday. A Free Palestine lunatic killed people who believe Christ is king. Does it make sense now? I'm not saying Myron and Candace and Nick Fuentes has to take responsibility for what this guy did. It's not directly their fault. But the proliferation of that ideology is 100% responsible for what drove this guy insane. And he was already insane. He was already insane. But Free Palestine, the terminology of Zionist Jews and all this, that did not become mainstream and did not start penetrating the culture until after October 7th, 2023, which means that part of his radicalization is new. The trans stuff, he was probably struggling with for the better part of a decade. The Jew stuff, that's new. That's all new. And the reason it was able to proliferate, the reason it was able to spread like a virus, is because of people like Candace Owens and Ian Carroll and Stu Peters and Nick Fuentes and Jake Shields and Myron Gaines and Luke Rutkowski and Simon Godek. And by the way, the Hodge twins who used to care about children, silent all day yesterday about this. Not a word about this case. Not a word. You guys we got to pay attention. You got to wake the up. Not our chat. Our chat understands. It's the people that we're sharing it today with. Those people. Those are the people who need to wake up and understand how big of a threat this whole thing is. All right. Quick break. Wow. First hour is almost done. Holy cow. Let's go to mypatriotsupply.com. Mypatriotsupply.com. I've got a ton of clips. We're going to play them over the course of the next hour as we wrap up. This has been so far, 5-hour marathon.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Tomorrow we got a 5-hour marathon as well. 4 hours on 1210 WPHT, an hour here on LFA TV. We'll take your calls second half of the show. And folks, tomorrow, please call. I'm going to be dead by tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah,
figuratively
take a breath.
Speaking.
You can do it.
Figuratively speaking. Figuratively speaking. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. 21,000 people have recently viewed this product. I wonder how many people have gotten it. Let's take a look. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. You know, the summer's not just hot, it's been historic. Flash flood warnings are at a 40-year high. And it's not slowing down. Towns are underwater, roads are washed out. In every crisis zone, you got the same scene. Crowds standing in line, waiting for bottled water, waiting for food, waiting for somebody to show up and save them. They tell you that help is on the way, but what if it isn't? What if help takes days or doesn't come at all? You think the system is built to protect you? Unfortunately, it isn't. They can barely handle one emergency, let alone dozens. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be the one caught empty-handed. And right now, My Patriot Supply is making sure that you are not caught empty-handed either. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. They're giving away 4 weeks of emergency food for free when you buy the 3-month emergency food kit with that promo code ungoverned. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. Check it out. Claim your free 4-week kit today. It is a free month when you buy the 3 months, right? 3-month emergency food kit, you get a free 4-week kit. That's a month's worth of food. Right on top of that, for free, $700, and you're prepared for a third of the year. Get your free 4-week kit today at MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. That's MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. This food's got 25-year shelf life, 2,000 calories a day. It's the best way to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. All right. I want to move into some clips now. We're going to move into some clips now just to show you. This was what the Minneapolis mayor yesterday decided was the first thing that needed to be said at the press conference. Not thoughts and prayers with the family, because prayer was bad, right? Prayer was the problem, according to Brian Krasenstein. By the way, not just according to Brian Krasenstein, also according to Jen Psaki, also according to folks on the mainstream media. Prayers aren't enough. It's almost as if talking points went out. It's almost as if talking points went out. I don't know, just noticing things. Is it we at 700?
We just hit.
Wow. We did, huh? Nice. Very good. All right.
Your birthday, Mo.
Birthday Mo is being honked. There you go. 800, and you get MAGA Mo. 1,000 today, and you do get Clover.
You do.
Okay?
That'll make Jackie real happy.
That will make Jackie happy. Make Clover happy because she gets to come in. All right. Here we go. The Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Frey, spoke before the police officer yesterday. Spoke before anybody giving important insight and information about what happened at the school. He prioritized himself. He prioritized his campaign. He thought this is what everybody needed to hear first. Take a look.
All of us. And I have heard about a whole lot of hate that's being directed at our trans community. Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity. We should not be operating out of a place of hate for anyone. We should be operating from a place of love for our kids.
Oh, is that why you said prayer isn't important? Because you love the kids who were praying? You see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Why do trans people believe their community is under attack? Because you got people like this who are coming out there and saying the community is under attack, essentially. The very first thing that you do in front of cameras addressing the community is say, we will not tolerate anyone criticizing trannies. What? Seriously? The guy's up for re-election. Did you guys know that? The guy's up for re-election. You knew that? He's campaigning. He's campaigning on the backs of dead children. He's campaigning. A place of love, right? He said a place of love, right? Yeah, here's some of that love on display yesterday.
And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance.
Well, why don't we take a look at the people that you're friends with, Mayor Frey? Why don't we take a look at the people on your side of the aisle and just why don't we just ask the question, why are they worried about it? Why are these children now at risk when they go to these schools? I thought it was a gun-free zone. What happened? You see, here's the problem with these, and this is another one, right? First of all, let me address this mayor. I'm starting to get a little all over the place here. I want to address this, what the mayor said. They shouldn't be scared. You're right. They shouldn't be scared. But when you're in a state and a jurisdiction like Minneapolis, that legitimizes insanity. That in and of itself is scary. You have people who believe they were born in the wrong body. They are insane, cuckoo, crazy, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, these transgenders. And that's not me saying that all 2.8 million transgenders in the country are going to be school shooters. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I am saying that every last one of those 2.8 million who quote unquote identify as transgender are suffering from a mental illness or a social contagion and are jumping on the jumping on a trend for attention. The reason those children have to deal with this, it's not because of guns. It's because of crazy people. A gun cannot kill somebody on its own. It is an inanimate object until somebody pulls the trigger. And if the person pulling the trigger is a lunatic, that has been legitimized by the state. Now you have created a recipe for disaster. Tampon Tim Walz. Remember, this is the guy who's putting tampons in the boys' room. Wanted to make Minnesota a refuge for transgender people. Interesting, a refuge. Come, all you people, won't you listen to me? SpongeBob. Bring all you crazy people into my state. Details continue to emerge surrounding the mass shooting that took place in Minnesota on Wednesday morning during a mass at Annunciation Catholic School, a K-8 learning facility in Minneapolis. As Red State reported, an 8-year-old child and a 10-year-old child were murdered by shots coming through church windows as they prayed. 14 other children were injured, but they are all expected to make a full recovery. Thank God. Predictably, the left and some of the mainstream media have rushed to blame Republicans for the horrific act of violence, with some proclaiming thoughts and prayers aren't enough and suggesting without evidence that the GOP's support for the Second Amendment was getting innocent people hurt and killed. Wrong. At the same time, there's also been renewed attention on actions taken by Minnesota Governor Tampon Tim Walz and the state's Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan in light of the mass shooting. In 2023, Tim Walz effectively made Minnesota, quote, a trans care refugee state. in response to laws being enacted in other states that essentially outlawed so-called gender-affirming care. That is 100% predatory and disgusting. The left, they love to tell you, right? Greedy corporations, big pharma, they love to tell you that these are all bad things, right? Greedy corporations profiting off of people, exploiting people. That is exactly what Tim Walz has done there in the state of Minnesota. It's exactly what he has done. Do you think for a second that the donors to his campaign that may or may not run in the orbit of big pharma, doctors, hospitals, universities, that they are not thrilled that he says that Minnesota is a trans care refugee state? Oh, your state won't provide that service to you? Come to Minnesota. We'll do it. And all of our friends will get in on the grift. They are preying on insane people. Vulnerable people. People who, since they don't know what gender or biological sex they are, obviously aren't thinking straight, can't make their own decisions, and can be persuaded into doing things, irreversible things that can hurt them for their future, can hurt them well out of their childhood into their adult lives. You cut it off, you can't put it back. It's not like getting a tattoo. This is another part of this woke ideology. It preys on the vulnerable. Both sides of it. Both sides of it prey on vulnerable people. The woke left preys on poor people. In poor communities. Doesn't matter the race. Doesn't matter the gender. They prey on them. They say, you're poor. Republicans are the reason you're poor. White people are the reason you're poor. Rich elites, capitalists are the reason you're poor. You're being held down. You're being held back. Fight. The woke right will look at these people and say, Jews are the reason you're poor. Globalists are the reason you're poor. You're being oppressed by a sneaky, sniveling cabal. They prey on loners. Perpetually, as Nick Fuentes said, I actually agreed with him on this. Ironically, he was describing his own followers. He said, oh, this person was most likely a perpetually online, mentally ill sadist. Yes, that's what all of your stupid followers are. Perpetually online. They think the internet is real life. Mentally ill. You have to be mentally ill in order to subscribe to the ideologies that Fuentes subscribes to, and they're absolutely sadistic. You see some of the crap they say about Zach? These people are nuts. They're crazy. They prey on that. And this is how the internet has become. There are people, and maybe they're not on either side of this issue, that prey on everybody's emotions. Okay? They prey on people by tugging at the heartstrings. Doesn't matter what it is. They want you scared. They want you nervous. These are the sensationalists out there, the Alex Jones of the world, who just say things without knowing whether or not they're true. They just blurt stuff out with not even like, hey, I think this could be evidence. Where's the evidence? Well, if you don't think it's what's happening, you're just not paying attention. That's their evidence. It's worse than trust me, bro. They just say stuff that will get their audiences scared, emotionally uncertain. I've got a scoop. I've got a source. I've got this. I've got that. Think again. Think again what the sensationalists did in December of 2024. I always go back to this because it's a great example and it's still fresh. Was there a nuclear bomb that went missing in the United States, and was that connected to the drones over New Jersey? The answer is no. But if you asked the internet back in December of 2024, the internet would have said yes. Because it was an emotional thing. It was an emotional play. Both sides of the woke horseshoe prey on vulnerable people, specifically emotionally vulnerable people. And Tim Walz with this is doing the exact same thing. Oh, you can't get gender-affirming care in your nasty red state? Come to Minnesota. You can get it here. Who wins? Not the patient, not the parent, the business, the grift, the hospital, the doctor, the mutilator, big pharma, the drug companies. Those are the people who win, not the mentally ill person, because chopping off body parts does not cure mental illness. But the point is, they're not looking for a cure. They want more of it. More mentally ill people who want to chop off body parts means more customers. It's predatory. These people are predators, all of them, both sides. The woke left and the woke right are predators. They are looking for emotionally vulnerable prey. And they're grifting off of them. They are exploiting them for personal gain. They don't care if it means that children are going to get shot praying at their school. They don't care. They care about their bottom line. They care about their clicks. They care about their clout. They care about their views. They care about their agenda. They don't care about life whatsoever. If they did, they wouldn't engage in that behavior.
Bad Mood needs you to honk Magamo. Okay.
We had 800?
Yeah. We're almost to 900.
Oh, really?
Actually, we are at 900.
We're 100 away. Guys, we're 100 away from Clover. This is going to be history.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh. Oh. Oh, my goodness.
That's a good change of pace. All right. We're going to take a quick break. I got to get to a word from our friend Jeremy Harrell on behalf of one of our sponsors. Let me see who we have up here first. Golden Crest. This is Golden Crest. So we will take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side of this real quick from Jeremy Harrell on behalf of Golden Crest.
Hey everybody, Jeremy Harrell here. Look, I want to talk to you a little bit about gold and silver. When I was a kid, I always wondered what Fort Knox must look like. And when I was a kid, I always envisioned that when you would walk into Fort Knox, you would see just gold everywhere, literally raining gold, kind of like what you see behind me right now. Unfortunately, as a grown-up, I don't have that kind of imagination anymore, and I don't even have that much trust that Fort Knox has the 5,000 tons of gold that we're supposed to have there. Meaning that decades ago, we went off the gold standard in this country, which took the value of our dollar down to just mere pennies. And since our federal government doesn't want to go back to a gold standard currency, then it's time to us to take matters into our own hands. Have you ever thought about buying gold and silver? Have you ever thought about taking portions of your IRA or your 401k or your nest egg or your savings and putting it into gold and silver, either all or a portion of it? Have you ever wanted to purchase silver like this in bullion or premium? I know I do. And I know I wanted to take matters back into my own hands, which is why I have worked with Golden Crest Metals to do that. GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA is going to be your go-to, absolutely transparent and trusted partner. Now, you can go to that website or you can call 888-308-4202. And what the good thing about this is they're going to guide you. They're going to talk to you. They're going to guide you. They're going to give you all the answers to your questions. And there's going to be no hidden fees. It's completely transparent. No hidden fees, no pressure, no surprise markups whatsoever. Clients get to see everything before they purchase. They've even agreed to lower the minimum investment to the LFA audience in order to make sure that everybody has access to this. Free IRA storage, free insured shipping, and a full range of precious metals from gold, silver, palladium, and platinum. And if it's easier for you to just maybe click a QR code, well, guess what? We've got that available for you too. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Click this QR code on your screen and it'll take you right there. GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA. Again, GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA, or call 888-308-4202 today to reach these guys. They're going to be a great partner for you, just as they have been for me, and we absolutely recommend here at LFA TV, GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA.
GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA. Thank you to Jeremy and thank you to Golden Crest for being a part of the show. Jeremy is traveling right now. He will be back tomorrow, from what I understand. He will be back tomorrow. If he's not going to be back tomorrow, somebody yell at me. Please tell me that he won't be, and I'll amend that statement. But that is okay. Let's see what we have here. There we go. So Jeremy will be back tomorrow. He's traveling today. You missed the first half of the show. It was pretty heated, pretty wild. We are how many are we away from Clover at this point?
Oh gosh, we're at 970.
Okay, so we
we're
are
30
away from seeing the cat for the first time ever. We promises made, promises kept. So we will continue to monitor the Rumble count. I want to get into more of these clips from yesterday's commentary on this transgender shooter that took the lives of 2 children, 8 and 10 years old. Obviously, we talked about this jackass, Brian Krasenstein, in the first half of in the first hour, and what he said, mocking prayer, attacking prayer, mocking God, not a good thing to do, not a good look regardless, but not a good thing to do. And Jen Psaki did the same thing. She also decided, as I said, the talking points clearly went out. You could always tell. You can always tell when when there are talking points and when there's coordination that has gone out and gone on. So Jen Psaki commented about the mass shooting yesterday, and once again, just like Jacob Frey, prayers aren't enough. Just like Brian Krasenstein, prayers aren't enough. Just ridiculous. Jen Psaki says the following: when kids are getting shot in their pews at a Catholic school mass, and your crime plan is to have National Guard put mulch down around D.C., maybe rethink your strategy. She also said prayer is not freaking enough. Prayer does not end school shootings. Prayers do not make parents feel safe sending their kids to school. Prayer does not bring these kids back. Enough with the thoughts and prayers. That's what Jen Psaki said.
We're at 1,000. Do we get Clover?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can say the same thing. I can say the same thing about the money that you're spending. Here we go. We are at 1,000. Clover is here.
Time.
I told you, promises made, promises kept. There she is. There you go.
She's just gonna hang out in here.
No, she's not. She's going to attack me if that happens.
Upset.
Yeah. There you go. You guys got to see.
Just an hour, okay?
You guys got to see Clover there. We told you.
Upset now. She wants to stay in.
We told you 1,000. Honk that Clover, Bad Moon saying. No, we don't want to honk her. We told you if we ever got to 1,000 likes live, you would see Clover. There it is. So now you know, for all of you who don't rumble during our initial hour, we'll do that every day. We'll do that every day. Rumble.com/LFA TV. Make sure you're following the channel. Jen Psaki talking about how prayer doesn't work. Nobody likes it. Well, why were the kids praying then if it doesn't work? Like what? This is you don't just attack. They are godless people. I get it, but these people are just. How do those parents feel reading this? As this, as the writer here, Nick Arama over on Red State says, sometimes you just don't hit the post button. Those tweets are a big example of why not. You're saying enough with thoughts as prayers, as people, including children, were attacked as they were praying at a mass. It's ridiculous. Gross. Democrat Party. That is the Democrat Party. Those are the people who want power. Don't give it to them. Back to this, the insanity argument. I don't know what was going on at Fox News yesterday, but their commentary on what happened in Minneapolis was just awful. It was just awful. Let's start with blowhard, soft, squishy, embarrassing, low talent, low IQ hack Trey Gowdy, who decided, you know what? Let's just surrender our right to defend ourselves, because I don't know how much more of this we have to take before we have to admit there's a problem. We know there's a problem. It's not guns, you moron. Watch this.
Our system is reactive. Something bad happens, we react to it. And what people are crying for now is, how can we prevent this? How can we stop it? And the only way to stop it is to identify the shooter ahead of time or keep the weapons out of their hands. And so we're going to have a conversation of freedom versus protecting children. I mean, how many school shootings does it take before we're going to have a conversation about keeping firearms out? It's always a young white male, almost always. I mean, did anyone this morning think, I wonder if that was a female? Did any of y'all think that? I mean, there's been one school shooting involving a female.
It was in Tennessee.
One. Yeah, Tennessee. But other than that, it is usually young white males.
This guy is such a moron. Not only are we gun grabbing, we're race baiting? Okay, the last school shooting, the last two shootings in Tennessee, one of them was a female who thought he was a male, or she was a male. The other one was a black guy in Antioch who loved Candace Owens. So, okay, Trey. No, there is a common denominator, and it's not young white male. They are mentally ill, crazy, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now, in what way does disarming law-abiding citizens protect anybody? In what way? The answer is, in no way does disarming law-abiding citizens protect anybody. In no way. Period, Trey Gowdy. In no way. Gun control? Really? Gun control? You know what would really help these schools? Armed security. More good guys with guns to deter the bad guys with guns. Because do you know what will happen regardless of gun laws? A criminal who is getting ready to slaughter children does not give a sugar honey iced tea about the gun laws. Schools are gun-free zones. That should stop it, right? Because there are gun control laws in place. It's a gun-free zone. Therefore, there are no guns, except when you have a criminal who doesn't care about your laws because, wait for it, they are a criminal. If the laws worked, why didn't they work? The laws don't work. Since the laws don't work, the last thing we need, Trey, with your embarrassing haircut, the last thing we need are more laws when the laws that we already have don't work. I don't know what was going on at Fox yesterday, but then you have Kennedy coming out with, oh, it's not about transgender. Excuse me? Watch this.
Do you think there could have been something done if someone changes their name and thinks they're another gender? Would you not have them have access to weapons?
No, I think there are trans people who are stalked and they are terrorized and they worry about their own self-protection and they deserve to protect themselves. I worry about someone who has ever gone to the doctor and says, you know, I feel a little anxious. Can you prescribe me some Xanax for a plane? And then all of a sudden their name goes on some federal database. Yeah, and they can never get a weapon to defend themselves. There are plenty of laws keeping good people from buying guns and ammunition. You know, we talked to Joe, our local sporting goods guy, and, you know, he's furious that people who deserve to protect themselves and their families, for people who enjoy sporting life, that they are not capable to go in and buy a weapon without some sort of registry. Yes, this person was mentally ill. It's not the trans part. It's the part that he was absolutely, completely evil. And in places like Minnesota, they do have red flag laws. And his parents should have known. And parents should be nosy. Absolutely. But, you know, I wish there were someone there to put a bullet between this little a-hole's eyes before he was able to pull a trigger. The only solace I have is that when he took his own cowardly life, which he should have done in the parking lot before he got out of his car, is that he woke up in hell. That is the only comfort that I have. And taking guns away from good people who deserve self-protection, I'm sorry, it's not the answer.
Kennedy, I'm not
here.
saying take it
She's
away.
right about that. She's right about some of the things that she said, but she's wrong about one of the things she said. She said it's not about the transgender, but he was mentally ill. Being transgender is a mental illness. That's the part she fails to recognize. And if Minnesota has red flag laws, and as she was saying, the person who goes to a doctor and has anxiety and gets prescribed a Xanax for a flight now is on a list and can't purchase a firearm, but the transgender person who's on all sorts of hormones and steroids and puberty blockers and drugs and antidepressants and SSRIs, that person can get a firearm? No. How about everybody who identifies as transgender is classified with gender dysphoria, and that is disqualifying. You want to play the red flag law game? How about gender dysphoria is disqualifying? No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, because there are trans people who want to, they want to protect themselves. Okay, then everybody gets a gun. If you want to play the red flag game and keep the guns out of the mentally ill people's hands, well, then you have to classify transgenderism as a mental illness, because it is. It is. Do you know what the term mental means? Do you know what the etymology of it? It's Latin.
Something to do with your brain.
MENT, ment, is of the of the mind, and AL is having to do with. Okay, so mental, having to do with the mind. If you are of the thought that you were born in the wrong body, there is something wrong with your mind. You are mentally ill. If you're going to enforce red flag laws, perhaps you should be adding one of the most dangerous and prevalent mental illnesses in society right now that's on the rise, specifically among children, gender dysphoria. If you're going to do red flag laws, do it right. Nobody with gender dysphoria should be allowed to own a firearm in Minnesota. Okay. We have to take another break. We've got another word from another sponsor. You will still get to see Jeremy today. He's not going to be on live with you, but he is going to give you the information about one of our sponsors. It is Fatty. No, we're not going to be playing a clip of Chris Christie. This is our sponsor, Fatty. So stick around till after this break. We'll be right back after a message from our sponsors at Fatty.
Hey everyone, I really hope you are enjoying the program today, and I hope you enjoy LFA TV as a whole, because let's face it, we're not getting any younger. However, if there was a way to slow down our aging and live a little bit longer, would we do it? I think we would. You ever heard of Fatty 15, folks? Well, Fatty 15 is a brand new supplement that has C15 in it. You might ask, what's C15? Well, C15 is the first fatty acid to be discovered in 90 years that actually prolongs your life. Over 100 studies over many years were done on dolphins because these two doctors were in charge of basically increasing the dolphin population. So they started introducing this fatty acid called C15. And what they found was something amazing. The dolphins were living longer and the dolphin pods were growing bigger. It was an amazing discovery. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you can get C15 introduced into your life to slow down the aging process of your cells. And it's not only going to make you feel and you look younger, but it's going to make your body think it is younger, which means you're going to start doing more things again. There's a thing called cellular fragility syndrome. And cellular fragility syndrome happens as we get older. This is going to reverse it, folks. Fatty15.com/LFA, promo code LFA. That is fatty15.com/LFA, promo code LFA. Get your discount today, folks, and start this new journey to help you live longer. Fatty15.com/LFA, promo code LFA today. Now, back to the program. Thank you very much.
There you go. That's Jeremy Harrell giving us a message from our friends over at Fatty15, fatty15.com/LFA. Promo code LFA. Appreciate that for being a part of the show as well. All right, moving on as we continue on here for the next about half hour. Still got a couple of clips to play. We played those clips from Fox News. This one came out yesterday. This was the Minneapolis Police Department saying that they couldn't determine a motive. Everybody knew what the motive was. It was written all over the shooter's weapon, yet we got this.
So the question was on a possible motive and a relationship to the church or to the school. I have no information to share on a motive other than saying again that there was some sort of manifesto that was timed to come out on YouTube. It's been taken down and our investigators are going through that to try and develop a motive from that. Additionally, there are these 3 search warrants happening in residential locations, and we may very well, find more information or writings that could give some sense to that, but we don't have that now. And I cannot confirm a relationship between the suspect or his family and this church at this time, but that's obviously something we're looking very closely at.
Brian O'Hara, Minneapolis Police Chief. Was that the chief? Was that what he said on the pylon?
So the question
Yes,
was,
police chief. There it was. You don't have a motive, huh? How come every time, literally every single time that it is one of these, that is one of these lunatic transgender shooters, how come it's always, we don't know the motive? You don't know the motive? Really? You can't determine, maybe there are multiple motives. You can't determine that? It was only written on his weapons. He only published a manifesto. He only had a video about it. He only had a journal that said he wanted to kill Jews. Now, I understand Zionist Jews weren't murdered in this case. However, when you look at what a Zionist isn't necessarily a Jew, right? A Zionist isn't a Jew. A Zionist is a person who supports Zionism, a political and ideological movement for the establishment and sustenance of a Jewish homeland and nation in historically Jewish lands, particularly the land of Israel. You don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist. Brennan, you would say you're a Zionist.
Absolutely.
Right? I would say I'm a Zionist. I believe the Jews have the right to their homeland in what we recognize as Israel right now, which has been recognized as their homeland for thousands of years. Okay? You don't have to be a practicing Jew, an ethnic Jew, to be a Zionist. You could be a Buddhist and believe that the Jews have the right to their homeland in what we recognize right now as the state of Israel. You're a Zionist. A lot of Christians, including Catholics, some of these families who were praying there may have been Zionists yesterday. They may stand with Israel. I don't know. I'm not saying that's the actual motive. Okay? That's not what I'm saying at all. But we do know that he wrote about it. We do know that he said it in his journal that if he were to commit a racially motivated attack, he would take out, quote, he would kill filthy Zionist Jews. His words, not mine. I'm not the one making this about Jews and Zionists. He is. So they can't determine a motive. They can't determine a motive. Meanwhile, there's motives written all over this dude's personal manifesto, etc., etc. Quote, if I will carry out a racially motivated attack, it would be most likely against filthy Zionist Jews, he wrote in one disgusting entry. There are also other examples in his manifesto, not necessarily referencing the Jews per se, but other pieces of writing that this shooter had authored as well. This on the Post-Millennial. Alleged shooter in Wednesday's deadly attack at the Annunciation Catholic Church and School in Minneapolis, identified as we're not going to say the name, appears to have posted a chilling video on YouTube before the massacre that makes several pop culture references as well as references to other shooters. He had the names of other school shooters written on the guns as well. In the footage, the shooter can be seen displaying multiple firearms and ammunition magazines as well as a target board with an image of Jesus Christ taped to it. Quote, this message brought to you by BlackRock and ExxonMobil, sponsored by Pabst Blue Ribbon. The shooter says up the top of the video, which has been circulating online, police have confirmed that at least 2 children were killed, 17 injured. They were expected to recover. Here are some of the lines and references that he made in his manifesto. Kaynbred, Kaynbred, a reference to the Sandy Hook shooter's online username. Quote, I'm the woker baby, why so queerious? A play on the Joker's line from Batman, why so serious? This is a Russian word, ya terrorist. You obviously know terrorist means terrorist. Ya means I. I am a terrorist in Russian. Ya kombin. I am combine, likely miswritten to reference Columbine. Quote, where is your God now? All over the one of the magazines or one of the clips. The guns also showed a list of mass shooters' names. Not going to read through those because I don't want to give those people oxygen. Other references included the song Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads, satanic symbols and slurs, including the N-word. Threats to kill Donald Trump. Oh, we don't have a motive. We don't have a motive. Sponsored by BlackRock, another reference to the multinational investment firm. The previous Trump shooter, Thomas Crooks, was also linked to BlackRock because he was in a commercial for them, which is odd. Extra thick Jew gas written on a smoke bomb. I didn't write it. Don't yell at me. I'm not the one bringing the Jews into this. The shooter is. We have to talk about it because if this ideology is radicalizing people, we would generally want to put an end or at least suppress and denounce and condemn this ideology, which is putting children at risk. Right? Right. St. Peter's Cross was on it. Israel must fall, which is the anti-Zionist slogan. Take this, all of you, and eat, mocking Catholic Eucharistic liturgy. A Baruch Kazad, which is a musical group. Kiss Me was written on the Battle of a Shotgun. Nothing Ever Happens. Oh, an online meme mocking geopolitical and domestic events. Oh, Nothing Ever Happens. I've heard that before. We Live in a Society, which is a Joker meme. Do You Believe in God? Which is a religious taunt, also likely a reference to Columbine. Hello, brother. A phrase spoken by a mosque attendant to the New Zealand shooter before he opened fire. Interesting. Manshallah, which means in Arabic, God has willed it. Okay? But why don't we take a step back real quick? He wrote on the weapon, kill Donald Trump. Here, you want to see? Here it is, right there. There it is. You see it on your screen? Kill Donald Trump right there on the way. That's nice, right? Isn't that good? All these leftists, all these idiots who have been talking about burying Republicans under the Capitol and comparing Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler and all of this, right? It said kill. I didn't write it. He wrote it. Don't look at me. You want to see how the fake news, how ABC News reported on Donald Trump's name being in the being on the weapon? This is gonna blow your mind. When I say you don't hate the media enough, you don't hate the media enough. So you see this. What does it say? Kill Donald Trump, right? That's what it says. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. Here's how ABC News characterized that.
23-year-old Robin Westman was able to leave what police called a video manifesto that they're now going through to try and establish motive. We've also been going through it and can tell you there are crude diagrams of the church. There are also photos of the weapons, and they include all sorts of writings, the names of past mass shooters, criticism of Israel, the name of President Trump written on the guns. There are also racial slurs, nihilistic statements, all painting the picture of a disturbed individual who carried out this mass shooting on the first week of school at the Annunciation Church in Minneapolis.
Did you hear what they said about Donald Trump's appearance of the appearance of Donald Trump's name in the on the gun? Did you hear what it said? Did you hear what he said? Oh, the name of Donald Trump appears. Did you hear that? Let's play that again.
Of the church. There are also photos of the weapons, and they include all sorts of writings, the names of past mass shooters, criticism of Israel, the name of President Trump written on the guns.
The name of President Trump written on the gun. Oh, okay. His name just appeared on the gun. Makes it sound like he was a Trump supporter, doesn't it? Almost like he did this in the name of Donald Trump. It says kill Donald Trump on the gun. He forgot the most important word of how Donald Trump's name appears on the weapon. Kill, it says. Kill. Now, I see somebody in the chat saying this is a false flag. Honestly, go yourself, okay? It's a false. Really? You think this is a false flag? Why don't you, with your big balls, just like Alex Jones did with Sandy Hook, why don't you go tell the families who lost their kids this was a false flag? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Who said that?
Oh, somebody, Ali, Very, something, another jackass who said it way up in the chat before I was watching it. Said if it's a false flag and if you can't see that, you're brainwashed by MK Ultra. Look, right there on the screen, Ali Very. False flag, until you see it, you are still MK brainwashed. Give me a break. Give me a break. A false flag. Give me a break. You know what? How disrespectful. Let me ask you a question. For those of you who think everything, what's not a false flag? Because every time something happens, there's always the same people that I see online going, that's a false flag, that's a distraction. Okay, if you know so much, what's not a false flag then? Disrespectful. Very disrespectful. Honestly, no better than the Krasensteins. This ABC News reporter saying, oh, yeah, Donald Trump, the name of Donald Trump.
23-year-old Robin.
Again.
Of the weapons, and they include all sorts of writings, the names of past mass shooters, criticism of Israel, the name of President Trump written on the guns. There are also racial.
The name of President Trump written on the guns. Okay. It wasn't just the name of President Trump written on the guns, though. It said kill Donald Trump. It didn't say, I love Donald Trump. It didn't say Trump 2024. It didn't say Trump 2028. It didn't display a message that was supportive of Donald Trump, but he wanted his viewers to believe that Donald Trump's name was on the gun, and therefore this was carried out in Donald Trump's name. This is Donald Trump's name. I know what a false flag is, by the way. What I'm telling you is it's disrespectful to think that some elitist cabal carried out this murder. This was a mentally ill person who has been suffering from a mental illness for the last decade, who got his hands on firearms and went out there and killed kids. This is not the CIA. This is not MK Ultra. If you want stuff like that, go watch someone else, Ryan Matta, perhaps. It's disrespectful. We're not even 24 hours. with just about 24 hours. Every time. You see, this is what I'm talking about. The internet, sensationalism. It rewards that kind of crap. It's ridiculous. When is something not a false flag is my question. Nobody seems to be able to answer that question. Crazy. It's crazy. That's literally insanity. All right. This ABC News guy. I just, to me, that's just, you do not hate the media enough. You just don't. You just don't. Okay, we have to get to a word from another one of our friends, another big sponsor. It's Everyday Dose. Everyday Dose. Jeremy Herald's going to come to you with a message from our friends over at Everyday Dose. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, sorry to barge in like this, but I do want to talk to you about this opportunity for 45% off of Everyday Dose coffee. And this isn't just your regular coffee, folks. If you're like me, you love your coffee routine. I've loved my coffee routine since I was probably 16 years old. Unfortunately, as I've gotten older, some of the coffee that I love doesn't love me back and does cause bloating, does cause jitters, can only drink so much a day, and there's really only so much I could do with it. Now, Everyday Dose is known as Coffee Plus Benefits. And what I mean by that, folks, is A, there is an ingredients booklet in there that gives you a ton of different recipes on how to make cold brew coffees of all different kinds, lattes, different hot coffees, and more. But the greatest thing about Everyday Dose is it is known as Coffee Plus Benefits, meaning that you're going to have 100% Arabica coffee, and you're going to also have lion's mane, chaga, collagen protein, and nootropics that keep your brain focused. No jitters, no heart palpitations, and a ton of different recipes. And you're going to get a frother, a tumbler, a box set with a bunch of different gifts in it, an ingredients booklet for recipes, coffee, and more for only $27, folks. 45% off by going to everydaydose.com/LFATV. That's everydaydose.com/LFATV. Why not expand your experiences with coffee? That's everydaydose.com.
Everydaydose.com/LFATV. It's everydaydose.com/LFATV. All right. I want to move off of the school shooting thing for the remainder of the show and show you this something very interesting that the Democrats are looking to plan here going into the 2026 midterms. It's a big risk. Rick, my name's not Rick. It's a big risk going into the 2026 midterms, but it's interesting because it's not something that you normally see. We talked about this yesterday on the 10 o'clock show on Ungoverned yesterday morning, that the Democrats are having very, very, very big fundraising problems. I mean, massive fundraising issues. And one of the best ways the Democrats fundraised last year was by having a Democratic convention, obviously in the presidential year. They're also still paying off Kamala Harris's debt. Now, here is this article by Becky Noble over on Red State. This is very interesting from a strategy standpoint. It's very strange, and I think this could play well for Republicans if, of course, we all play our cards correctly. It says here, quote, if most Republicans are truthful, it has been, I got to use this, my throat's bleeding. It has been a ton of fun watching Democrats flail about with no leader, no realistic message, and continuing to reap what they sow by ignoring the American people. It has also been beyond stunning to watch them double and triple down on ridiculous policies that voters, by a resounding margin, told them they were not interested in. Our most recent chuckles come from clips from the Democrat National Committee's summer meeting and their most recent penchant for breaking out in song at Immigration and Custom Enforcement ICE protests. You guys breaking out in song. Do we need to go to the songs? We want to do some singing? Do you want to do some singing? We got to do some singing. This is not a false flag. This is them actually singing. Ready? Let me see if I could find it. Where is it? There it is. Here's this. Kilmar is our neighbor.
Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him, Trump. No! Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him Trump.
Yeah, and they also did this.
Everybody, hoo-hoo-ya. Hoo-hoo-ya.
There, no. We don't need her to do that. It's been too long of a morning to have her shrieking in my ear. We're back to this here. The Democrats think they may have found their answer, right? It's not songs. It's not all of these things. There's a rumor, a buzz right now, buzzing around the Democrat Party. They're weighing the possibility of holding a rare national convention before the 2026 midterm elections, according to people familiar with those discussions. This is one of those, as Becky Noble on Red State says, one of those, quote, what can we throw up against the wall to see if it sticks type of ideas. The Democrats need to fundraise. They cannot fundraise off of their message. They are the message of donate to us, we'll fight Trump isn't necessarily popular because it's not as popular as it used to be and not as effective as it used to be because Donald Trump is not pushing issues that are nationally unpopular. Right? He's not pushing issues that are nationally unpopular. You're going to say, we have to fight Donald Trump. Fight him on what? The border? Wait, you don't want a safe border? Fight him on what? Fight Donald Trump on what? Men and women's sports? Yeah, the hardcore Democrats, those people aren't the people with money. Fight them on what? Lowering taxes, lowering inflation, bringing back jobs? You see, in 2017, after the Democrats lost, after Trump won the 2016 election, in 2017, you saw the following. You saw the Democrat Party kind of almost mimic what it's doing now, right? They were dejected. They were depressed. They were disorganized. They were disoriented. They didn't know what to do, right? They were lost. They were rattled. But they had Donald Trump, a still new figure at the time. They had Donald Trump to fight against, and they had a fresh, to the malleable middle, the independents, believable Russia hoax. They had a fresh, believable Russia hoax. I didn't believe it, but a lot of the independents, a lot of people who consumed their news from the mainstream media believed it. Right? A lot of people who consumed the mainstream media had a lot more influence back in the 2017, 2018 timeframe. Right? Mainstream media doesn't have that much power anymore. And there's also not that scandal hanging over Donald Trump's head anymore. So when the Democrats had to fundraise in 2018, they didn't need a convention. Why? For the 2018 midterms. They didn't need a convention because they were able to run on the idea of we will impeach Trump because Trump colluded with Russia, right? We will impeach Trump, elect us, we will get this job done because Trump colluded with Russia and we will bring about justice. Donate to us, vote for us. They don't have that. They don't have a mainstream media apparatus with as much influence, and they don't have the scandal. They don't have it. So the only way they're going to be able to unify their party and get their you-know-what together is by having this idea of a mini convention. But I think this is going to backfire on them. Because what are the people who are going to go to this Democrat convention? First of all, who's going to speak at it? Kamala again? What, Liz Warren? Boot Edge? Greasy Gavin Newsom? Who's going to, what, Nancy Pelosi? Trust me, we have to fight back against Donald Trump. We have to fight because he's a fascist. We got Nancy's dentures. It's Nancy. We're fighting back. Donald Trump is a Nazi. Who's going to speak at this convention? And not only who's going to speak, what are they going to speak about? Those ideas aren't popular. I certainly hope that they do this mini convention, because it's going to be worse than last year's DNC. You know, last year's DNC, they had this idea that, we're going to fight back. We're going to, a new way forward. They had this fresh kind of astroturfed, but there was an injection of fresh energy because Biden was out of the way, and they got somebody who's actually competent, who probably doesn't crap herself as much as Joe Biden. Next year, they're still going to be, because their message is unpopular. Nobody wants to hear about men and women's sports, how they want that. Nobody wants to hear about, we need the open border, stop deporting criminals, stop cracking down on crime. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody, even the D.C. mayor, is like, hey, we appreciate what Donald Trump is doing. This is Muriel Bowser. Watch this.
And we greatly appreciate the surge of officers that enhance
here we go with the
what
audio again.
MPD
But it is what it is.
has been able to do in this city. The most significant thing that we are highlighting today is the area of crime that was most troubling for us in 2023. Now, we have driven it down over the last years, but I'm going to get my glasses so I can make sure I can see it correctly. But for carjackings, the difference between this period, this 20-day period of this federal surge, and last year represents a 87% reduction in carjackings in Washington, D.C. We know that when carjackings go down, when the use of gun goes down, when homicide or robbery go down, neighborhoods feel safer and are safer. So this surge has been important.
So she appreciates the help that the federal government has deployed to Washington, D.C. That's a Democrat, by the way. I'm looking forward to that mini convention. All right, one more word from sponsor here. This is Dose Daily. Dose Daily, not to be confused with Everyday Dose, but this is Dose Daily. Here's Jeremy Harrell with a message from our friends over at Dose Daily.
Hey there, folks. It's me again. Hope you don't mind I'm popping in on this show, and I hope you're enjoying this program on LFA TV. But I want to talk about something very serious here, and that is the performance of your liver. Folks, you only have one. And last I checked, you can't just go on Amazon or online and buy another liver. So you want to make sure that liver is functioning properly. And because of the diets that we have here in America, you don't need to have ever been a big drinker to have liver damage, okay? And one thing you want to make sure is that your body's second largest organ, your only liver, your only elimination process, is not only not damaged, but working properly. So I went to the hospital a few months back. I had some blood drawn. They said I had some liver damage. I asked, how do I fix that liver damage? They said, well, luckily for you, it's not that bad. So if you introduce things like turmeric and ginger into your life, maybe dandelion, it will help repair that damage. I said, okay, what do I do? They said, have you tried Dose Daily for your liver? I said, no. I reached out to Dose Daily. I made it a part of my everyday life. And guess what, folks? Liver damage repaired. Turmeric, ginger, milk thistle, orange, dandelion. These are great things that you need in your life, and they are things that your body's elimination process needs. You can get 30% off right now by going to dosedaily.co/LFATV. 30% off. What are you waiting for? Like I said, you can't order another liver, but you can order some Dose Daily from dosedaily.co/LFATV.
dosedaily.co/LFATV. I see comments about the D.C. mayor. You know, we said this a couple weeks ago when Donald Trump did the federal push into Washington, D.C., that it was going to show these blue state mayors, authority figures, elected officials, etc., how to get the job done, right? How to get the job done. The blueprint, the formula has now been made accessible, has now been put out there to show you, look, all you have to do is want to fix the problem. But we still have a problem in Washington, D.C. Remember the guy who hit that police officer with a Subway sandwich? I know it sounds ridiculous, right? But you remember that guy? The Subway, the sub slapper, right? Remember him? Okay. he's not being indicted for felony assault of an officer, which, frankly, is awful. They're not indicting the Subway sandwich guy. So a grand jury has declined to indict him, and it does not mean he's not being charged. But this guy, a federal grand jury, has declined to indict a man accused of throwing a sandwich at a federal officer deployed to Washington, D.C. by the Trump administration. The man, identified as former Justice Department paralegal Sean Dunn, was captured on video throwing the sandwich at the officer's chest during an August 10th incident at 14th and U Streets Northwest. In the video, Dunn is heard shouting at officers, "F you, effing fascists, why are you here? I don't want you in my city." He hurled the sandwich outside a Subway restaurant before running away. Officers chased and arrested him. He was charged in federal court with felony assault on law enforcement. Attorney General Pam Bondi confirmed he'd been fired from the Justice Department. NBC News reported that it's rare for grand juries to decline indictments since the threshold is probable cause rather than proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Prosecutors initially filed the charges against Dunn via criminal complaint, but under the Federal Speedy Trial Act, they must secure a grand jury indictment within 30 days. The grand jury did not hand down a felony indictment for assaulting a federal officer. Okay? However, Dunn is still scheduled to appear in federal court on September 4th, a few days from now. Prosecutors could try to bring the case before another grand jury, but if they fail to secure an indictment, the charge would likely be reduced to a misdemeanor. So he's still in criminal jeopardy here. He's still in trouble. But the charge gets reduced to a misdemeanor, which carries a potential penalty of up to 1 year in jail. Obviously, I would like to see him charged with the felony. But in order to have those felony charges stick and for him to be formally charged, there needs to be an indictment. So stupid precedent. Maybe they will try it in front of another grand jury. I would if I was the Justice Department and try and have him brought up on those felony charges. But that's a D.C. grand jury for you, which is, it's garbage in its own right. It's odd that a grand jury won't indict, but in this case, they're probably looking at it like it's a joke, even though it's not a joke. All right. I want you to take a look at this. This is the website, lfatv.us, lfatv.us. You can pick up some really cool LFA TV merch here at the LFA TV website. Click on that LFA TV store tab. You will see everything that there is to offer at the LFA TV store. Make sure when you do this, you click on the Visit the Store tab. That will give you the full menu, the full directory of LFA TV merch that is there. This is the I Don't Really Care Margaret shirt. I wore that at the Arc. Everybody thought it was amazing. Both members of the LFA family and just total strangers who were there at the Arc as well. Check out the flannel shirts. I've got that on. Nobody looks better in them than I do, but you could try. All sorts of good stuff here at the LFA TV store. Beach towels, tank tops, tote bags, ball caps, all sorts of good stuff. Rise Up Coffee, coffee mugs, lfatv.us or jeremyherald.com/store. This 2 hours was long, but it went by very quickly. This marks 6 straight hours in a row. I am tired. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My throat is about as raw as I can't say it because it's inappropriate. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, rumble.com/LFATV, and over on X. We're only back for 1 hour tomorrow, but I'm on with 1210 WPHT for 4 hours before that. So it'll be a 5-hour sprint versus the 6-hour marathon. Phone call second half of the show. As President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never ever surrender. If all else fails, we'll just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great rest of your day. A wonderful rest of your Thursday. Follow Speak on Rumble. He's got the Speakeasy Club tonight. I'll probably pop in there. That's always a good time. It's not a political thing. It's everyone just kind of goofing around, having a good time. So we'll see. Maybe we'll see you there. Until then, have a great rest of your Thursday, and thank you for your attention to this matter.